Hi, I'm Jo, and this is Mellow Belly Yoga. Welcome to my first class in a series called Yoga for My Mum. It is literally that. I am making these videos for my mum, and if you'd like to follow along with this very gentle journey of classes that are going to sort of build one on top of the other, you are more than welcome to join. We're going to start this practice in a seated shape. Now that can be any seated shape of your choice. You can be here in a cross-legged shape, or you can be seated on a chair even, or anything in between. So just figure out where you'd like to be today, and then we are going to settle in for a little bit of a sort of body scan, check-in to settle ourselves and arrive in our practice. So wherever you are, whether that's on the floor or on a chair, just checking in with your setup. Drawing the crown of the head up towards the ceiling, gently drawing the chin in towards the throat. So nothing crazy, but just a gentle tuck of the chin in towards the throat to help that sense that you've maybe got like a little helium balloon attached to the crown of your head that's just drawing your spine upwards away from the floor. Roll your shoulders up, back and down. Hands can be settled wherever makes sense for you. That could be on your knees, maybe it's in your lap, maybe it's on your thighs. Letting the body settle, shuffling a little bit from side to side, back to front, and coming to sit in your kind of neutral center. If you're in a cross-legged position, maybe just checking in, leaning the body slightly backwards into the space behind you. See if that allows you to relax the belly a little bit more. Taking a deep breath in and sighing it out as we arrive here, now, in our practice. And we're going to do a little body scan. Starting at the top of the head, bringing your awareness to all the sensations in the scalp, drawing your attention down and back around the ears, forwards into the forehead, allowing the eyebrows to soften, feeling into the temples, the eye sockets. Just noticing the feelings. Notice the sensations. You might feel very little. You might have strong sensations, maybe some pain even. Just noticing it, just observing, no judgment. There's no good sensations or bad sensations, just noticing what's there. Feeling into the sinus cavities, the cheeks, the tongue and the jaw. Feel it all pull downwards a little bit as you settle into your shape. Eyes, forgot to mention this, but eyes can be open or closed, whatever's most comfortable for you. Feel into the front of the throat, the space between the earlobes and the shoulders, down through the back of the neck. Feel into the shoulder blades, the middle back, the lower back. Down through the arms, feeling into the elbow joints, all the sensations in the forearms. the wrists, the palms and the fingers. Maybe noticing the temperature of the air on your skin or the feeling of the clothes under your fingertips. And bringing your attention to your chest and belly. Maybe feeling your weight sinking a little deeper into your seat with the weight of the pelvis. Drawing your attention down through the thighs, the knees, the shins and calves, the ankles, the tops of the feet and the soles of the feet, all the way into the toes. Maybe even imagining the sensation of the toenails and the fingernails. Staying here as you zoom your attention out now to hold the whole body in mind. Now, I'm not sure who said this first, but there's this quote that I love, which is that if you can breathe, you can do yoga. So it dispels all the myths that you have to have a particular body type, or be a particular age, or be super flexible to be able to practice. Because really, I mean, there are so many ways to define yoga, but I think one of them could be, the process through which you build a relationship with the breath. And that's where we're going to start today, really looking closely at the, creating that connection between breath and movement and marrying the two. So taking a moment now, if there's anything about your setup that's a little uncomfortable, perhaps if you're in a cross-legged position, you might want to change the shin that's in front, or take a moment now to wiggle and get comfortable. We've done our body scan. I'm just going to take a moment now to take that same awareness, observation, and bring that to the breath now. So just your natural breath, not trying to control it in any way. Again, you can close your eyes or let them grow a little bit fuzzy and out of focus. And just checking in with your breath and where it's at right now. No good or bad, just noticing. How's it feeling? Where do you notice it the most? Is that at the entrance of the nostrils, that cool air as it enters into your system? Is it perhaps as the air hits the back of your throat, maybe where it travels down into the lungs? Or is it more the movement of the lungs or the belly that you notice the most? If you need to, don't hesitate to put a hand on the heart and a hand on the belly. If that helps you to tune in to the sensations of the breath. Maybe you can notice at this point, is it feeling a little tight? Or is it moving easily? Maybe it's nice and deep and really going all the way into the belly. But again, no right or wrong, just where are you at right now? As we slowly transition into that incorporating of movement and breath. So in general, any movement that has got a kind of an opening to it is we're going to match with the inhale, and anything that's got a kind of a closing to it, a closing shape or a kind of a getting smaller, we would match with an exhale. So if ever you get lost along the way, just sort of follow your intuition and yeah, obviously a space that's, a shape, sorry, that's getting bigger is creating more room for the lungs, which would be why we connect that to the inhale. And of course, if we're making ourselves smaller, that space in the lungs is coming in and this would be sort of naturally lends itself to an exhale. We're starting with some very, very gentle movements to begin with. So in whatever seat you're in, we're simply going to start with a neck warm-up. So on an inhale, lowering your left ear, your left ear to your left shoulder. So inhaling, feel that opening up through the right side. For me, I can feel that from the right sinus all the way through the neck and into the collarbone, just noticing where you feel it in your body. And on the exhale, coming back up to center. Inhaling, lowering right ear to right shoulder. And exhale to come back up. Now keep going from side to side. Follow your breath. So it's the breath that initiates the movement first. So see if you can follow that pattern rather than moving and trying to fit your breath to the movement. See if you can let the breath guide you. Now wherever you are, we're just going to do one more on either side. Inhaling to lower the ear. Exhale as we come back up. And last side. And exhale to come back up. This time on the inhale, we're going to look over our left shoulder. Feeling into that opening again on the right side. Exhale to center. Inhale, looking over the right shoulder. Exhale to center. Let's do two more on each side, following your breath, your rhythm. Settling into this slow, sort of meditative movement. I've got one more on each side. Now, depending on where you're at, if your breath is feeling a little shallow, maybe you're moving a little faster than I am. And if your breath is deeper than mine, maybe you're moving even slower. But wherever you are, taking your time to finish up that round and coming to meet me in center. And yeah, wiggle it out a little bit and find your way up onto your feet. Whichever way makes sense for you. Now, if you do have issues with blood pressure coming up and down off the floor, there's a little trick you can use where you press the palms one into the other in the center of your chest and lower your chin to chest. Maybe swap your clasp and try that on the other side, and that can just help boost your blood pressure up a little bit if you're feeling a little lightheaded coming up off the floor. So we're going to keep up with this gentle warm-up, this time bringing hands to knees, so bending slightly at the knees. And we're just going to roll the knees in a clockwise direction. The hands are not so much pushing as they are there for some feedback and for some gentle guidance. And see if as you curve round, you can inhale, and as you start to pull back and round on the exhale. So inhaling, and as you start to move back, exhaling. We're going to do 3 in this direction, clockwise. Really seeing if you can hit every number on that clock, that imaginary clock on the floor. Slowly and thoughtfully through that movement. Now as we come to the 12, we're going to go anti-clockwise, exhaling. Inhale as you come round. Last one. Coming to center. There'll be days where you might want a little bit more energy, a little bit more speed. You don't always have to do that with the breath, but it is a good practice or a good exercise in slowing down and noticing the body and noticing the breath. Now bring your feet wider than hip distance, wider, sort of shoulder distance apart. Hands come to hips. And we're going to roll them hips forward, trying to hit every number on that imaginary clock. Exhaling. You can really tilt the torso forward here as we warm up the hip joints. Exhaling as we come back round. Inhaling to come forward. One more in this direction. You might be hearing some crackles and pops from the hips. Now when you get to 6 o'clock, we're going to swing them back the other way. Inhaling as we come forward. Exhaling. Don't worry too much about any sort of noisy joints. If you have any points in your circle where it gets a little sore, it pinches a little bit, just shake it up. We're just sort of getting ourselves in motion. I heard someone say that motion is lotion. So we're just sort of getting things ready to flow and move and feel more at ease. And coming to our center for perhaps the simplest pose, but one of my absolute all-time favorites. It is called Tadasana, which means mountain pose. And it is our primary sort of baseline. It is our standing pose. But I want us to take the time here to build this shape because it is going to accompany us throughout our entire practice. And its simplicity is so powerful. So we're going to start from foundations up, starting with our feet. So give them a little shake out and come to a sort of a natural stance for yourself. Somewhere roughly sort of hip width apart, feet hip width apart. And I want you to bring all that awareness of the body scan to the soles of the feet now. Maybe lifting the toes a little, giving them a wiggle, and pressing them down into the mat. Maybe you can feel how that domes the arch of the foot just a little bit. And that sort of intentional connection to the ground, to the floor, to our mats. And from that connection, sort of imagining a kind of a sort of grounded energy rising up through the legs. Your knees don't have to be locked out here. You can have a micro bend in the knees. It's not a stiff position, but it is powerful. It's aware. It is a conscious shape. Feeling that sort of grounded energy rising up through the legs. If you're not sure what your neutral spinal shape is, I'm turning here just to show you, you don't have to move, but doing a few pelvic tilts, so where you bring that sort of pelvis back, curl it forward, and move between these two extremes for a little while. And then eventually they get a little bit smaller, a little bit smaller, a little bit smaller. And maybe you can sort of eventually come to sit in your neutral spine. There is a natural curve to the lower spine. So, we don't have to, always be in this perfect sort of locked shape. We can find that natural neutral of the pelvis. And from there, from that sort of neutral pelvis, we continue to feel that connection through the feet, drawing up through the torso, the belly, through the arms. Maybe you shrug those shoulders up, back and down, turning palms to face forward. Your hands don't have to be sort of maxed out, but just a gentle spread in the fingers, that sort of conscious, sort of almost channeling of this mountain energy. You want to imagine that if somebody came and gave you a sharp push from either side, your mountain would withstand. And drawing that energy up now. So we've got that connection with the earth. Now we're almost rising up to meet the sky through the crown of the head with that gentle tucking in of the chin, nothing too radical or smushed, just a gentle tuck in to help feel that length of the spine rising up. Take a moment here in your Tadasana to breathe into it, to feel into it, to feel into those sensations. Feeling that connection between earth and sky. You're a powerful mountain. You're solid. And from Tadasana, we're going to start moving with the breath a little bit more dynamically. Now that we've warmed up, now that we've got some of our base concepts going, we're going to start with a very simple flow between a few shapes. So starting in Tadasana, I'm going to walk you through the flow slowly once, and then we'll cycle through it a few more times with the breath. So breathe freely as I walk you through these next few shapes. We're going to move from Tadasana to Urdhva Hastasana, which is a sort of a raised arms pose. So on the inhale, but again, breathe freely once you get there. We don't want you holding your breath at any point. But on the inhale, we're going to raise our arms up overhead. Now notice that I open them up to the sides. And you can bring them up. Now, depending on how comfortable your shoulders are, you can bring them up to here to a kind of a cactus shape. If you've got the room in your shoulders, you can lift them to a sort of a straighter shape. If you want to play around with that a little bit more, you could even bring the fingers to touch lightly. So finding out where that sweet spot is for you in your shoulders today. I'm going to have my arms just sort of in a bit of a Y shape. Now again, I said you can lift those out to the side, but also play around, figure it out with your shoulders. You can change things up from practice to practice. You can also sweep the arms forward and up. See how that feels different in the shoulders. Now here, it can be tempting to go into a bit of a back bend. You might want to explore that, or you might want to just stay here in quite a neutral spine. Again, mix it up, explore, try different things. But for now, we're going to just keep it very simple. So from there, from our raised arms, wherever you're at, we are simply going to curl the body forward. So arms come forward, torso reaches forward as we let the spine drip down towards the floor. Now your knees can be bent. They can be bent a little more. Wherever you need to be to find your fingertips on the floor. If you have any yoga blocks, you could even place them here to rest your hands on, bring the floor up to you. And bending knees as much as you need to here. We are in Uttanasana, standing forward fold. See if you can just release through the neck, release through the chin, maybe nod your head yes, shake your head no. And that sensation just dripping forward. And then in a reverse, we're going to take those fingers, sweep them up as we lower our hips down as if we were going to sit onto a little stool. So this is chair pose, Uttanasana, but Utkatasana, but we are just going to keep on going. We're not going to stay there for too long because that is some hard work. Utkatasana is always hard work. And exhale, back to Tadasana. All right. So that's our 3-step flow. We've got Tadasana, Uttanasana. Oh, I'm getting it all mixed up, sorry. Tadasana, Urdhvastasana, Uttanasana, and then sweeping back up through Utkatasana and reversing back to Tadasana. All right, so that's our little walkthrough. Now we're going to try to kind of get lost in the rhythm. Try to get lost in the rhythm of it, lost in the breath. I will cue you through this and we'll do 3 rounds together. All right. Starting in your Tadasana, feeling that connection through the feet, drawing that energy up through the body, through the crown of the head. Let's all take a deep breath in together and a deep breath out together. And let's begin. Inhaling, arms come up, Urdhva. Reaching out and down, Uttanasana, standing forward fold. Sweep arms forward, bending at the knees. Utkatasana as we travel up. And exhale, lower arms down. Moving straight into the next one. Inhale, arms up. Exhaling, bending at the knees as we allow the body to fold forward. Inhale, arm sweep up. Bum searches for that imaginary stool as we keep moving up. Exhale, arms come down. Tadasana. One more. Inhale, arms come up. Exhaling to Uttanasana. Reaching arms forward, knees bend deep here. Moving through Utkatasana, chair pose. As we reach up one last time. Releasing arms down. Take a moment here to check in with the body. Are you warming up? Can you feel maybe placing your hands on the heart? Can you feel that energy flowing? Now we're going to work our way slowly through a little sequence that will introduce a few more shapes to you. And then we'll start our wind down. So, finding our Tadasana one more time. This is going to be a little bit of sort of coordination and balance challenge here. So if you are at all worried about your balance, you can either use a wall for support, or you can maybe have a chair next to you, a piece of furniture, sturdy furniture that you can rely on. So from our Tadasana shape, we're going to move to Ekapada Tadasana, one-legged mountain. So shifting your weight into your left foot now, so that your right foot can sort of clear the floor. This is maybe where you want to have your chair beside you or a wall to stabilize yourself on. And we're just going to draw that knee up towards the chest. Now, depending on how strong you're feeling there, You know, maybe your knee will be here, maybe you'll be able to draw it up a little bit more, but challenge yourself a little bit and, you know, play around. Your standing foot, depending, you know, how you're feeling today or how strong your foot is or how tired it is, it might start to cramp up or feel a little bit like, woof, that's a lot of work. But that's all part of it. We really want to build that powerful, strong foundation for ourselves and our bodies. So, with or without something to help you balance, coming up into Eka Pada Tadasana. Find your version of it. See if you can stay here for a little while. You'll find that to make this sort of curl of the knee up, you might want to drop the tailbone down a little bit. See if that helps. And from here, we're just going to gently transition by sweeping the heel back, searching for the space behind us to just a shallow little warrior one. So it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be stepping miles back, just a little bit back. And take a moment now to look at the feet. Your left foot is parallel to the long edge of your mat. Your right foot is out at a little 45-degree angle. And we're just going to bend into that front foot, front leg. And with those arms, sweeping them up like in Urdhva Hastasana, but now we are in Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1 pose. Again, hands could be out in cactus. I quite like that, to be honest, because it feels so powerful, like you've got your giant shield in your warrior shape. And wherever your arms are, perhaps before you get your arms up, let's just take a moment to tune into the pelvis. Because, you know, now that we sort of got that one leg back, one leg forward, you might find yourself tempted to sort of start pointing your hips off in that direction. But we're really going to draw left hip back, right hip forward, square off your hips to the front of your mat, and keep that energy in the legs as you bend and rise up. From here, we are simply going to swivel to the side of our mat. And you'll see now my feet are out at an angle on either side in a very wide V. And I'm just going to stretch the whole body out in a starfish shape. Really stretching into all the body. Releasing that. Now look at that right foot of yours. Turn it so that it is parallel to the short edge of your mat. Look at your left foot, turn it parallel to the long edge of your mat. This is going to be our warrior 2. So bending into the left knee, sweep arms out either side in a giant T. In this case, whereas before in warrior 1, our hips were square to the front of the mat, here we're sort of opening up to the side mat. Arms out wide, check with your back fingers, are they at the same level as your front fingers? You know, bring all that attention and awareness to your shapes, to your practice, and bringing your gaze out over to the middle finger of your left hand. Feeling the power of this shape. Now here comes a little balance and coordination challenge. You're going to just let that right arm drop down. Sweep forward, start to turn the body to the front, and then see if you can just hop that back foot forward into your Eka Pada Tadasana, your one-legged mountain, bringing the knee up and settling it back down. Now that might look a little different for everybody. So we were here. Maybe you're going to hop, 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 up and down. Whatever you need to make that journey and build up your confidence. And here we are, back at our starting point. Now we're going to do that on the other side. Shifting your weight now into your right foot. Bringing your left knee up towards the chest, however high you can bring that. And taking a moment to feel your one-legged mountain, your Eka Pada Tadasana. Now sweeping your heel back, finding your shallow little warrior 1, checking in with the feet, front foot parallel to long, back foot out at a little angle, knee bending into that front knee, checking in that your hips are squared off, arms come up. Swiveling now into our starfish shape. Feet out wide, arms out wide. Oh, just a really freestyle kind of starfish here for a stretch. Then coming into Warrior Two, Virabhadrasana 2. Back foot parallel to the short edge, front foot parallel to the long edge. Bending into that front knee, arms come wide. Checking in with the levels of hands. It's often very easy to feel like we're level, but zoop, bringing that attention. Feeling into the strong stance, a broad, strong chest. Sweeping your back arm down and up. Pivoting on the back foot, stepping back or hopping, baby hops up to our one-legged mountain and lowering down. Deep breathing in and sigh it out as we let that go. There was quite a bit of brain work, there was quite a bit of coordination, a little bit of balance. And we're going to just wind down. So find your way onto your mat, whichever way makes sense to you. And rolling back down onto your back. So starting from a place where knees are bent, feet flat on the floor, arms either side of the body. We're going to exhale and bring those knees in towards the chest. Hands come to rest lightly on the kneecaps. They're, again, it's sort of like with our knee warm-ups. They're not pushing or pulling the knees. They're sort of there for feedback and gentle guidance. So same situation here. On the inhale, we're going to gently guide the knees away from the chest. And on the exhale, bring them back in towards the chest, but not sort of yanking them in or pulling them in again, just letting them go. It's quite, for me in any case, it's not a very big range of motion here. So if that's the same for you, don't worry. Inhaling as the knees draw away. Exhaling as they come in closer. So this pose is called the wind relieving pose, and it actually is using the tops of the thighs to sort of massage the intestines. So you might find it gets things moving. Exhale. One more, drawing knees in towards the chest. And releasing that. Bring right foot down to the mat, followed by left foot, hands on either side. And from here we're going to move into our bridge pose. So it's Setu Bandhasana. As we press in through the heels and the soles of the feet, we're going to lift the pelvis up towards the ceiling. Arms are like just training wheels. You're not pressing into the ground with them. They're just there to keep you sort of stable. And now maybe you're not going to come up that far off the floor. That's fine. Maybe you've got room and you've got some oomph in the feet and you're ready to push further up. And now we're going to stay here for a little bit. If you want the feedback, you can place your hands on the belly and just try and breathe deeply into this part of the body. We've made room. It's sort of this opening shape that's welcoming the inhale. Imagine you've got a beach ball between your knees and you're pressing in towards each other to hold that beach ball steady while you're in this position. that's starting to burn a little bit, just gently and an exhale. Curl the spine down vertebra by vertebra all the way until you come back down. I like to think of the spine as a string of pearls that we're gently placing down onto the mat. We're going to do 3 of those, marrying movement to breath. So in your own time, when you're ready for your next inhale, you're going to bring the hips up. Exhale, curling the spine down. 2 more in your own time. Waiting for the inhale to come naturally before you start to engage the movement. And waiting for the natural exhale before you release. Try to be really thoughtful about that placing down of the spine, imagining those pearls one by one. Last time. And exhale. All right. Last pose for today. If you have got a wall nearby you, that's perfect. If you don't, you might need to go and find one. And just when you're there, wiggle and shimmy your bum as close to the wall as possible. And we're going to put our feet up against the wall for Viparita Karani. I think people call this waterfall in English. And it can just be the most wonderful place to end your practice. Draining the legs. We're actually in an inversion here with our lower body higher than our upper body. Palms facing the sky. And use this time here maybe to just check in with the body. Check in with the sensations that are calling for your attention right now. Check in with the breath. Maybe compare it to how it was feeling at the beginning of your practice. Has it changed? Has it remained the same? Personally, I feel my breath has become a little bit more easy, a little less tight. Now you're welcome to stay here to close off your practice, or come into the classic final pose, which is Shavasana, which means corpse pose, which can be a little surprising. But what I love about it is that it is a kind of a coming into stillness, a coming into silence. So you'll see that I've really just stretched out into a full supine position. Arms either side of my body, palms faced up. Legs relaxed, feet falling out to the sides. You might need to sort of shuffle and find the right position for your lower back. Same for your head and neck. But then resist the temptation for movement. And drop down into the stillness. feeling grounded through the whole body. Connected to body, connected to breath. Connected to the rising and falling rhythms of life. When you're ready, gently wiggling the toes and the fingertips. Maybe sighing out the breath. You roll onto your side, coming into a little fetal shape. Resting your head on your arm, drawing your knees in towards the body. Taking a moment to seal in the goodness of your practice. Then pressing up through the hands, coming to a seated shape. Bringing your palms to meet each other at heart center, thumbs pressed into your breastplate. Thank you so much for letting me guide your practice today.